Okay, I'm going to ask you to state your name and spell it for me, too.
Okay.
So if you'll do that.
State my name and spell it.
Yes.
My name is William, W-I-L-L-I-A-M. Middle name is Lane, L-A-N-E. My last name is Hudson, like Hudson River, H-U-D-S-O-N. And I go by Lane because I'm a junior and my father went by William.
Very nice.
So I've grown up being called Lane, which is kind of unisex. I've won a lot of things like cookbooks and things.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Hudson, what is your occupation here at Tri-County Tech?
I'm an English anesthesiologist.
What brought you to that?
Well, I love putting people to sleep with English. I'm also a public speaking teacher.
Okay. How long have you been doing that?
Well, I've been teaching since I was 38, but I have taught a varied litany of courses.
I've heard that. What are some of the courses that you've taught?
Well, I've worked at 7 different colleges and universities.
Wow.
At the State University of West Georgia, I was in charge of their public relations and journalism program, and I taught public relations, writing, strategy. I've taught journalism 1 and 2, editorial writing, magazine writing, layout design, photography. I've taught public speaking. I've taught composition. I've taught creative writing. I love to teach.
It seems that way.
I love teaching communications.
Now, what brought you here to Tri-County Tech? Why Tri-County?
Well, I remarried, and my new wife, works at the Department of Social Services in Walhalla. And so fortunately there was a job opening here, and I fooled them, and they hired me, and the scam has worked for 6 years.
Now, within the curriculum, what is your favorite subject to teach?
Boy, that's a tough one. It's either creative writing or public speaking.
Okay, why both of those?
Well, they both require the student to take responsibility, and they both allow the student to discover his or her own strengths. It's not just memorization. I would go nuts if I had to teach math or science. These courses allow a lot of room for exploration and questioning.
That's
and I love to see the light come on.
Yeah, that makes for a good teacher. Now, I've heard you've written several columns. I've personally never read in your columns.
Mm-hmm.
What are they about?
Well, when I was in Georgia, I was a regular newspaper columnist for a
Okay.
paper there, and I had a great rapport with my editor, and he said I could write about anything I wanted to, which is unusual.
Yes.
He trusted me implicitly. And so some of my columns would make you cry, some would make you laugh, some would make you go, aha. Because see, I'm basically a storyteller.
Okay.
And there's 3 types of stories.
What are those types?
One makes you go, aha. One makes you go, ah. The other makes you go, ha ha. So to answer that question, when I write and when I tell stories, my goal is simply to make the reader or listener feel more human, to appreciate his or her humanness. I always ask my students the first week if they're human beings, and they all raise their hands, and I say, no, you're not, you're human becoming. And when you die, you'll be a human being.
I like it. That's really funny. So what's your greatest challenge as a teacher?
Wow.
That's a tough one.
Well, it's certainly not the job.
Right.
Because since I've had 32 jobs in 45 years.
Wow.
And I've been very blessed. A lot of them are part-time, many different types of jobs. I didn't start teaching until I was 38, and it was an accident. Someone coerced me into teaching part-time as a favor, and I fell in love with it. I thought, wow, if I'd known this is like putting an alcoholic in an ABC store. I love English, I love writing, and since I've been teaching, I've not gotten up a single morning and dreaded coming to work. I get excited about coming to work. And I guess the greatest challenge, you know, I love it all.
That's
the greatest challenge is grading papers. I don't like
the busy work.
I don't like the busy work. It's not because it's busy. I don't like having to judge whether someone has learned something or not based on state criteria.
It sounds like you really care about your students.
I love my students.
That's what makes a great teacher. So what do you see in your future? What do you think your future brings?
Oh, they will roll me out of the classroom in a wheelchair. I had an epiphany about 3 months ago. I was riding by Tri-County, and I looked over to my left as I was going to Anderson on a Sunday, and suddenly realized this may be the last job I ever have. So I came back and told Ms. McFall that, my department chairperson. I said, you know, I had this epiphany. This might be the last place I ever work. She said, Ann, I said, I got to be nice to y'all so you come to the funeral. So I'm just going to keep doing what I want to do, and wake up every morning and just do what I can do. My attitude, I think I best summarize my attitude with this example. I come home after a long day at school, and I'm tired. My wife sees that I'm a little tired, and she'll say, honey, you look like you had a hard day. I say, well, it was less than wonderful. And she'll say, well, tell me about it. And my response is always, why? It was bad when I went through it. I got through it. Let's go on and do something positive. And that's the way I live my life.
You've referenced your wife several times, and we were talking
Yes.
before the interview started about your wife. And just because we have some extra time, why don't you tell us about remarrying? Tell that story.
Well, I have this wonderful fairy tale that happened to me. I married my high school sweetheart 6 years ago after not seeing her for 28 years. As a matter of fact, right here, she and I went to high school together. We went to the same church. We lived a mile from each other. Our parents were best friends. And we went to a church that was founded over 270 years ago by my great-great-great-grandfather. And this is a rock from the foundation of that church from 1776. It was on this rock that Wake Forest University was founded. It was on this rock that the seed for the Southern Baptist Convention was created. And I got married on this rock 6 years ago. But my wife and I reconnected after we both discovered each of us had divorced after 28 years. And we talked on the telephone for 6 months. We were 8 hours apart. And we had our first date. And Brittany came totally without plan. But as we spent the day at a park together, I realized how much I really loved her. And I asked her to marry me on the very first date.
Oh my goodness.
And she said yes.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So we married in that church after not seeing each other for 28 years.
That is beautiful.
My little majorette, she calls. And she still reminds me when I had hair in high school and had bangs, and I would do like this. So it's a great ride.
Well, that's wonderful. It sounds like you have your dream job, and you have a wonderful person to come home and share it with.
I do. And I got these great people around me, and I'm very blessed.
So you plan on being here at Tri-County for quite some time?
As long as the scam works, I will be here.
Well, students are very blessed to have a teacher like you here.
Thank you very much.
And it was
You're
wonderful interviewing you. Thank you for your time.
You take care.
You too.